Let's look at a few methods by which you can navigate in a book. So I have here a block that is a book at its outermost level, and it has 3 pages like this. So they're just, each page is just a composition with 2 images and some text down below here. And if we look at the structure, you can see it's a book at the outermost level with 3 pages, and each page consists of 2 images and the text, exactly as you see here, 2 images and a text. So in the past you have been able to navigate in a book using buttons. So let's start there and add some buttons. Now if I want to add buttons to navigate in this book, there is really no place to add those buttons if I want to have like a button here and here to go to next and previous page, because the book is the top level block is the book itself. What you can do is that you add a composition outside the book where you can put those buttons. So that's when this wrap with come in handy. So if I would go with wrap with, then I can add a composition outside the book. So it doesn't really change a whole lot, but now you can see the outermost block is the composition, and inside this composition is now a book. So we can just name this book to make it a little bit more readable. Now if you look at the hierarchy again, you can see there is the outermost level is now still called Swipe Book, so the block name hasn't changed, but now it's a composition, and inside it there is a book and the 3 pages. So we sort of move this one level down into this topmost composition here. So now we have a place where we can add the step forward and step backwards buttons, because we have a composition at the root level, which is right out here. So let's go ahead and add a button here, and we just put that down in this corner, and this should go to the next page. So I just put the little greater than sign there, and that should navigate to a local block, a local page in this book that we have here. So what I could do here is that I could say that this should go to page 2, for example. And that would work, except that it would only work when I'm at the first page. So now you can see this button that I just added showed up over here, and if I click it, it goes to page 2. Now if I click it again, nothing happens. You can also see that it lights up like this, indicating that I am already on page 2, so nothing would happen. So what you want here isn't a button that goes to a specific page, but that goes to the next page. And you can do that by typing a plus here instead of a specific page name. Actually, you could type even you could say +2, which would make it go 2 pages forward, or -2, which will make it go 2 pages backwards. But in this case, we just want it to go to the next page. So that would be a good way. So now we can go next, next, and you can see it also wraps around. So when you get to the last page, it wraps around to the first. Now if we want to go backwards, we just duplicate this button here, and we move it over here and change the text on it, and then we say go back like this. Then we have a forward and a backward button. Okay, so that's something you have been able to do for a long time in blocks. And now let's look at one thing that was added there in Blocks version 3. So it's been there for a little while, but you may not have noticed it. So one thing you can do in the book here is to add a transition when you go from page to page. So we can change this to do a dissolve. Now we added, so when we go from page to page, there is a dissolve transition between the pages. Another thing that came up quite a lot is that people are so used to flip using a gesture in a multi-page document, like you can flip to the next page. So that was something that was also added quite recently, this swipe to turn pages. So let's turn that one on. And let's also change the transition here, so it makes a push to the left, and let's make it a little faster, so maybe 0.5 or something like that. Okay, so now we can do this, And we can also do this kind of swiping gesture here. And you can see that the you can go forward and you can go backwards, but you can see it always moves. The transition is always right to left, regardless of whether I go to the next page. Now I'm at page 2, or I go swipe right to left to go back. And that's where this little checkbox comes in. So if you check that one as well, then if you swipe right to left, you will go to the next page. And if you swipe left to right, then you will go to the previous page. And you can still wrap around at the end of the book. No, you can't, because this one isn't checked. So you can actually control here whether the swipe gesture will make it wrap around. So if you wanted to be able to wrap around, you would have to check that one as well. Now I can go from page 1 by swiping this way. I go back to page 3. Otherwise, it gets stuck on the last page if you don't have this one checked. So that flavor of navigation with swipe gesture is a fairly new addition, so I thought it's worthwhile to point it out.